Hi, I'm Joseph O'Connor, and this is another short video on the theme of coaching the brain. We were talking about creativity and how you can't force creativity. It's got to come of itself, so you have to make your mind an inviting place for it. Well, in that sense, if you can't make yourself creative, then the best thing you can do is to identify those things that will stop you being creative and don't do them. So what are the enemies of creativity? Well, there's quite a few, but we'll start with one of the main ones, and that is habitual thinking. So habitual thinking, of course, is the kind of pathways that we're used to thinking. And if we continue to think something, our brain will faithfully reinforce those pathways through neuroplasticity. The brain does not discriminate whether the idea that you're reinforcing is a good one, a bad one, a creative one, a stupid one. Doesn't matter to the brain, it's all signals to the brain. So you keep repeating the thought, keep thinking it. That's the pathway that will be strengthened in the nerve cells, and that will therefore be the thought that will continue to pop up. So habit, of course, in many cases is a friend. Because, well, we need habits. We don't want to have to think about everything creatively. Everything that you do, it would be terrible. It would be so time-consuming. So, of course, we need habits. Habits are great. But the moment we want to be creative, habits become the enemy. So, we need ways to kick ourselves out of habitual thinking. And we need to be aware, too, of the kinds of thoughts that we're reinforcing. So that's the first enemy. Second enemy we'll deal with today is what we call the default network. Now, the default network is those parts of the brain that are active when we're kind of doing nothing. And this came from research some years ago, where there were definite patterns of blood flow in the brain when the brain was at rest, quoting, not doing anything. Certain parts of the brain were getting more blood flow. But those parts were not involved in any action. So it's kind of, the default network is the part of the brain that you're using when you're daydreaming, when you're chilling out, when you're thinking about yourself. It's all about me, the default network, the fantasies, the ambitions, the ideas that go through your mind when you're daydreaming. Now, default network is, it's fine, we all do this, but it's absolutely the enemy of creativity. It inhibits goal thinking for a start. Once you start thinking in a focused way about goals, the brain activity changes from the default network. When you think about other people, you shift out of the default network as well. So there's no focus, there's no attention, there's no creativity in the default network. So the daydreaming about yourself, that is not helpful. One thing that does seem to be helpful in terms of being able to be more creative and allow your brain to be more creative is meditation. It seems to bring the activity in the default network more in sync with the networks of attention and control. There's a lot of research going on in terms of meditation and the effect on the brain, and all of it seems to be extremely positive. We'll talk about that another time. Now, there are many other enemies to creativity as well, and we're going to go into another really important one in the next session. If you want to check out more about this, visit coachingthebrain.com.